Students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from Hungary here in Central Europe. I hope everybody is having a good start to their weekend. Hi Chaitanya Kumar, hi Kush, hi Isabella. I see lots of students are in. Hi Kevin Bui, Flower Sun. Good to see many of you in the class. Today we are focusing on speaking part 3, some practice with some high-level answers. And while we wait for some more of your peers, this lesson is brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, check us out there. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's general IELTS help.com. On both of our websites, we have loads and loads of great materials for you. Quickly show you those. This is the academic website here with the blue background. Click that big red button to join the premium package. Spend a few dollars, get the right strategies and materials to help you get those band scores that you need to pass the exam. This is the general version here with the green background. Click that big red button to join the premium package there. If you have questions, send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. Hi Ferdovs, hi Tito, hi Rajveer. Nice to see our members joining in on this session also. So students, speaking part 3 today. The next live class will be on Wednesday. These classes are Wednesday to Saturdays at around this time. So just check the YouTube community board for the schedule. I will have next week's schedule there in a few hours after this class. So if you check back later today or tomorrow, you will see the schedule for next week as well. All right, I'd like to get lots of questions and answers done and lots of feedback done, so we'll get right into it. In the speaking exam, you're face-to-face with an IELTS interviewer, and they will ask you some questions to get to know you, questions on a general topic, part 2 cue card, and after about 8 minutes or so, they're going to spend the remaining 7 to 8 minutes getting into more details on the cue card, with part 3 getting into some heavier discussion where you have to really express your lexical resource, your grammar abilities, and your communication ability as well with English. So that's what you're doing. All right, so part 3. Here we go, students. Do your best. We'll talk strategy while we answer. This is following from yesterday's part 2 class. Yesterday we took a part 2 cue card, which was talk about a situation that's not in your control that affected your life. And if you were in yesterday's class, you probably remember that we talked about losing my job. So not mine, but losing a job, losing our job as an accountant at Sun Financial, I believe it was. So if you keep that in mind, that's great. Try to connect some answers to those questions. Okay. All right. So here we go. The examiner has just taken back the card, the note paper, the pencil from part 2, and they say, all right, that is the end of the 2 minutes. Now we will continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. Let's talk about unpredictable situations. If you don't recognize the word unpredictable, don't panic. Just listen for the question and remember it's connected to part 2. So unpredictable means that it's not something you can see or you can forecast, so it's out of your control. And the examiner will ask the first question from you. What are some common situations for many people in their life which cannot be foreseen? Foreseen means predict into the future. Okay? So what are some common situations that cannot be foreseen by many people. Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. So Flower Sun says, as a student, I've seen many of my classmates and myself get bad marks in a subject. When I took the exam of English, I thought I would get a high mark in the class. However, because of too much confidence, I lost marks and made many mistakes. Okay, I don't think you're quite understanding the question correctly, Flower Sun. Common situations that happen to people which cannot be foreseen. Kevin Bui says, unanticipated events happening to mostly everyone include fortunate experiences, such as winning the lottery, or mishaps, such as losing jobs out of the blue, which I had just described in the previous part. And Kevin Bui, that is exactly how you get a band 9 on the IELTS exam. So Kevin Bui is paraphrasing elements of the question, giving two very clear responses. So events that we can't foresee, some lucky events like winning the lottery. And also, many of us experience the event of losing a job, the one that we talked about in the previous part. That's fantastic, Kevin. That's how you get those high band scores. Practice saying those, Kevin, fluently. I guarantee you'll get a band 9, even if you're speaking with an accent, okay? Because accent is not so important. Begzod says, some people can no longer predict some upcoming events because it depends on their actions that can result through accomplishment. Begzod, that's a bit confusing. I kind of have an idea of what you're saying, but you need to be clearer, okay? Marie Alba says, accidents. All right, Marie Alba, what kind of accidents? Like a car accident, falling off of a chair, an accident in sports, for example. So express yourself, Marie. Elena says, an unusual circumstance for individuals that is unpredictable is losing their jobs, as I mentioned earlier. Other than that, facing recession, experiencing an earthquake. Okay, good. Yeah, those are all great. All right. Delaying a flight while going on a trip, or maybe getting sick. Yeah, Elena, those are all fantastic. It's a nice list. You'll get a nice mark for those. That's exactly what the question is asking about. Okay. All right. Rajveer says, well, aside from losing a job that I had just mentioned, other common unprecedented incidences can be train delay, an earthquake. People do not plan before such situations. Yeah, unprecedented, Rajveer, has a different meaning. Unprecedented means that there's no example of it. So this global pandemic, we've theorized about it, we've made movies about it, the COVID-19, but we've never actually experienced a true pandemic that affects all people in all parts of the world. So this would be an unprecedented event. Okay, but an unpredictable event is a little bit different than unprecedented event. So careful with that word, Rajveer. Okay, so aside from losing one's job, as I had just mentioned, that was very clever by Kevin and Rajveer, some other unanticipated, very nice paraphrasing with that, Kevin, for unforeseen or unpredictable. So nice paraphrasing. Some other unanticipated events that are common for many people include natural disasters like an earthquake, accidents such as a car accident, or certain fortunate events like winning money. In fact, I just won 20 bucks on a scratch and win ticket last week. Maybe throw that in there real quick, pick up some extra points. Okay. Follow with me here, students. Follow with me And this is a speaking class, so speak and repeat. If I missed some of your comments, don't worry, keep going. I will try to catch different people at different times. Here we go. What are some common situations for many people in their life which cannot be foreseen? Repeat. Aside from losing one's job, as I had just mentioned, some other unanticipated events that are common for many people include natural disasters like earthquakes, accidents such as a car accident, or certain fortunate events like winning money. In fact, I just won 20 bucks on a scratch and win ticket last week. Okay. And here is the follow-up question. So follow-up questions are a big part of part 2. You have to be clear. You have to be quick to answer these. The examiners are really looking to see how well you can answer follow-up questions, how quickly you can use the English language effectively. Okay? So what is some general advice to handle some of these situations? Okay, so give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. What is some general advice to handle some of these situations? Charlie says, first of all, I can say don't panic, keep calm, and do what's necessary. What I mean is, suppose in case of a road accident, people should call an ambulance. In case of winning the lottery, people should use their money wisely, put it into the bank. Good, Charlie, good. Very good. You can even build off of that a bit more. Very nice. Okay. Tito says, I would like to mention to avoid such situations, one has to be really careful, attentive, and think critically on every aspect of life. That will help in a lot of ways. Don't panic. Yeah, that's panic and fear are the biggest enemies when it comes to these situations. I agree. Elena Mori says, at first it is difficult to handle unpredictable situations. However, we should embrace these gracefully. Life is full of hurdles, ups and downs. Stay positive. Don't panic. Okay. Good, Elena. Elena, focus on the solution. Oh, I see. Okay, there you go with some more solution. So Elena says we should be prepared for unexpected circumstances and know how to handle them without panicking. Be optimistic. Okay. Careful, Elena, not to repeat yourself over and over. So students, when you're giving answers in part 3, one of the most common mistakes, okay, a common mistake in part 3 is candidates repeat themselves. Okay, don't do that. Work hard to give new information with each sentence. Okay, it's really important. If you're repeating yourself, even if you're fluent, it goes against your fluency score. Okay, did you catch that? That's really important. So if you have a lot of repetition in your speech, it will count against your fluency score, even if you are speaking continuously. Okay, so I'll give you an example. If the examiner says, what is some general advice to handle some of these situations? And I say, well, my first suggestion is don't panic. It's important for people to stay calm. They need to be relaxed and make sure that they're not running around freaking out. They have to focus on what they need to do, and they have to keep their cool. Okay. Even though I'm speaking really fluently, I'm not actually getting marks because so far I've really only said don't panic in about 10 different ways, which shows good English, but it doesn't get me scores on all of those different categories of fluency, grammar range, coherence, etc. Okay, so you have to work hard to provide novel information. All right, so what is some general advice to handle some of these situations? Firstly, people ought to have some foresight and know that life is filled with unexpected challenges. As such, they should prepare for difficulties, like putting together a bug out bag with certain survival tools, such as a water filter, non-perishable food, and a sharp knife. As well, they need to stay calm in the face of danger and work together with others to create the best possible outcomes. All right, so here I'm teaching you some more natural language, of course, and some new words as well. Importantly, notice that I keep providing new information. So different ideas, explanations, and examples. Okay? Repeat after me. What is some general advice to handle some of these situations? Firstly, people ought to have some foresight and know that life is filled with unexpected challenges. As such, they should prepare for difficulties like putting together a bug out bag. It's a, sorry, not a bug out bag, it's a bug out bag. Let's change that to a G. A bug out bag. A bug out bag is basically like an emergency kit. It's a backpack, okay, with certain survival tools such as a water filter, non-perishable food, a sharp knife, a sewing kit, maybe a first aid kit. As well, they need to stay calm in the face of danger and work together with others to create the best possible outcomes. How many of you have created a bug out bag now that we're facing this great global challenge with the COVID-19? Have any of you put together a backpack if something happens suddenly out of your control? Suddenly water supplies are not accessible or food is not accessible. Do you have a bag that you can just grab and go somewhere, and that bag will help you to survive and to meet those challenges? If not, might be a good idea to think about that. Could be another danger, as we mentioned, like an earthquake as well. You never know. Flashlight, these are all really, really good items to have prepared. There's a wise saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Okay? Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. All right, be smart. Yes, students, I am using this class as a multi-purpose lesson. All right, so let's go to the next question. How is technology being used to help people handle surprising events? Okay, give me a nice full sentence for this one. Okay. So how is technology being used to help people handle surprising events? Visualize, think about your answers. Okay, let me see what you've come up with. I see a lot of answers for the previous question as well. It's great. All right. Seni Surani says, technology is used for positive action to tackle unpredictable situations, like we use GPS technology to locate victims who are lost in the mountains. Yeah, to find people. Very good, Seni Surani. Great. Charlie says nowadays technology is being used to help people deal with unpredictable situations. Like presently, we are dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. We are all on lockdown, which is unpredictable, but we can still do our work online using the advent of the internet or using the internet. Very good, Charlie. That's great. All right. Pavan says, definitely yes, the use of technology, ambulances are just a call away from the place of an accident, and also some devices can help with triple click features, which sends a message to a nearby ambulance. Okay, Pavan, yeah, so emergency signals, right, Pavan? Ferdavs Nabiev says, advancements in technology help humanity to control many surprising and dangerous situations by satellites and computer modeling programs. It is not only beneficial for humans, but also, okay, Kevin Bowie. At the moment, technology has found its applications in various fields, including sensory devices, which are used to predict catastrophic tsunamis in Japan, as well as a means of long-distance communication being developed to caution both the government and their citizens about imminent issues such as the spread of the coronavirus. Very nice, Kevin. I see you're preparing for these classes and giving some nice high band answers. Fantastic. Pachu Yadav. Students, when I'm reading the comments, I'm correcting them in real time, mostly, as best I can. So just repeat after me when you hear these, okay? So here we go. Pachu Yadav. Technology is being used to help people in case of surprising events by giving notifications and news. This makes people more aware and safe. Good. Begzad Erkinov says, one example is lots of buildings that are erected with durable walls and hard foundations so that when earthquakes strike, the GPS informs us and it can save the buildings. I don't understand the last part, Begzad, but I think you have the right idea. So new technology in building infrastructure to handle surprising events such as earthquakes. A lot of buildings in Japan are built to move with earthquakes. Absolutely. Prajesh Patel, yes, we are on lockdown, and in India, we are maintaining our basic abilities for fighting with the COVID-19, such as sanitizer, hand wash, gloves, and masks. These are all simple but useful forms of modern technology to help us isolate and stay safe from infection. Prajesh, really nice ideas. Little bit more English. Note the time, 23 minutes. You can check back and see how I improved your response. Otherwise, quite nice. Very good. Okay. All right. Lots and lots of answers. Really nice. Rafael Andres Guevara says technology is being used as a means of communication to spread information so that these unpredictable events don't take us by as much surprise and keep us safe. For instance, tsunamis. Okay, Rafael, not bad work on your grammar, and you need to include some more words for clarity. Okay. All right. Looking good, students, looking good. So there are many types of gadgets that have been developed to warn and assist humans in unpredictable events, such as satellites, that monitor waters for icebergs to prevent ships from hitting them. And even high-tech respirators which allow firefighters to rescue people trapped in buildings during a fire. Okay, sure. Yeah, lots of ideas there. You just have to be visual and come up with it. Put it together. How is technology being used to help people handle surprising events? This is present tense and it's progressive, being used. So we should use that in our answer. There are many types of gadgets that have been developed to warn and assist humans in unpredictable events, such as satellites that monitor waters for icebergs to prevent ships from hitting them, and even high-tech respirators which allow firefighters to rescue people trapped in buildings during a fire. Okay, good. Let's keep going. Another follow-up question, and you will see these in part 3 of the IELTS. So there'll be a question, and then the examiner will follow that with another question that's connected, and then another question that's connected. Now, don't forget about losing our job and what we were doing there as well. You might be able to connect back to that here with these questions. So how has this changed compared to a generation before? So here, what the examiner is asking is, how has the ability for technology to help us in unpredictable situations changed compared to a generation before? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. So obviously present perfect, so you should use present perfect in your answer. Elena says, technology has changed drastically compared to the past. In past times, there was no way to find the remedy of a plague like polio. As a result, millions of people lost their lives. Good, Elena. It's a sad example, but it's a good answer. Ferdovs Nabiev says, about 30 years ago or so, most people could not have access to the internet and the data to forecast future unpredictable events. But nowadays, there are a lot of computer programs online to do this. Okay, Ferdovs, good. Ferdovs, a lot, 2 words. A lot, okay? Keep that in mind, Ferdovs. A lot, okay? 2 words. Ashut Acharya says, due to advancements of technology amid the COVID-19 outbreak, many students have been embracing distance learning, which has replaced the older methods of students in the class that were available a generation before. But at that time, there's no way they could have learned with their professor from their home. Okay, so Acharya, good answer. Just make sure that you connect it to the question, the generation before. So say they could not have done this a generation before, but very good using a relevant example. Bobby Singh, when considering generational differences, it is essential to remember that while trends and research suggest each generation has unique characteristics, not everyone within a given generation is. Okay, Bobby, I like how you start, but then it seems like you go off kind of on your own thoughts and miss the question. And I can tell you have really good English skills, Bobby. So make sure that you focus on the question. You'll get a really good mark. If you don't, they'll drop your mark to a 6. But with that English, you should be able to get an 8.5. You just have to make sure that you're answering the question. The start is good, considering generational differences, and then tell me the difference clearly. Shiro Jidin says, nowadays people can call emergencies anywhere at the push of a button, but a generation ago people had no such opportunity, and people could not send SOS signals through their phone from anywhere. Yeah, very good, Shirojidin. Yeah, we all have that emergency call function on our smartphones. So that's a really good example to explain. Remember to use present perfect, has. Okay, these questions are fishing for grammar. This one is fishing for present perfect. Humble Human says, before the 21st century, people couldn't use technology like multifunctional phones and smart TVs for getting more information, or GPS devices weren't adequate as they are now. People can now get the news by media and what is happening. So this is helping many more people much faster than during my parents' time. Okay, good, Humble Human. Let's connect back to that question, students. Let's connect back to that question. All right. Good. Yeah. So let me borrow some of your language. Certainly, there have been many improvements in the ways technology can assist individuals in emergencies. These generational differences can be observed in smartphones that can reach help from just about anywhere at any time, as well as GPS devices that locate people who are lost or incapacitated. All right, here we go. Repeat after me. How has this changed compared to a generation before? Certainly, there have been many improvements in the way technology can assist individuals in emergencies. These generational differences can be observed in smartphones that can reach help from just about anywhere at any time, as well as GPS devices that locate people who are lost or incapacitated. Okay? Incapacitated means they can't move, they can't do anything. All right? That's a new word. Write it down. All right? So students, I'm giving you some words always in these classes that you should practice, incorporate, and use in your speaking to improve your lexical resource marks. So when you learn a new word like incapacitated, write it down. When one of your fellow students, like Humble Human, shares a good collocation like generational differences, then make sure to write those down. They're very, very useful. They will give a unique feel to your language and they will bump up your lexical resource marks. Okay? All right. Nice. Here we go. Next question. Moving along, again, I'm loving how I'm seeing many, many different people answering these questions. That's fantastic. Keep that going, okay? If I don't get to your question right away, don't worry about it, all right? Just keep going. If a person becomes lost in the forest and does not have a phone, what should they do? Sometimes the IELTS Part 3 surprises you with questions that are kind of like, whoa, sorry, we were talking about technology, now you're talking about somebody lost in the forest? What? So don't be shocked, okay? This is not a natural conversation. It's an interview that's testing your language skills. And often students will tell me, "Whoa, Adrian, I just got the weirdest, craziest questions on my part 3, and I just didn't even know how to answer." So don't be surprised if you hear a strange question, okay? Take a deep breath and start with, "That's an interesting question. Allow me a moment to think." When you have good fluency, they're not going to take away marks for saying that. It's an intelligent response, okay? So if a person becomes lost in the forest and does not have a phone, what should they do? Okay. Tito says, well, if a person gets lost in a forest, they should try to find different ways of survival, as well as use their natural instincts, as our ancestors had done for thousands of years. Okay, Tito. All right. It's a little bit of a general kind of advice, but sure. You can also say, don't panic, right? Maksud says, in this fast-paced world, some individuals lost in the forest without electronic devices, as I had just mentioned, I think it would be better not to panic and try to figure out where you are by using your brain. Anybody know how to locate yourself in the forest? At least know which way is north, south, east, west? Saf says they should look to the sky to know where's the location of the sun and their clock. It will help them to find their direction, whether they are facing east or west. Find a river and follow it because it will likely take you to the nearest village. Yeah, people live beside water, right? Very nice advice, SAF. Follow the river. Good. Couple of corrections there, SAF, so take notes of that. Elena says there is no doubt that it is a terrible situation. The person should patiently handle the situation. Firstly, he or she should look for a landmark, like a mountain that they might recognize. If there is no landmark, the person should make their own marks and follow the path. Yeah, so marks on the trees to know that you've already been there, so you're not going in circles, right? All right. Charlie Sen says, next question is from the Discovery Channel. Yeah, potentially. Annie says, in my opinion, a person lost in the forest should stay in that spot until someone finds them, because there are many accidents that can happen when people don't have information about the terrain, Annie, instead of repeating the forest. But it's a good answer. Yeah, the number one answer in British Columbia and Canada, where I grew up, stay still, don't go anywhere, okay? Because British Columbia is so big that if you're lost in the forest and you just start walking, you could be walking for hundreds of kilometers and there are no people, no forests, or sorry, no villages, nothing. So stay in one spot. Sumaya says, in order to stay alive and avoid dangers, they should not panic and use their compass. Try to look towards the sky to find their direction. Nice, that's a common advice, yes. Anil Patel says, as soon as possible, that person should find a river so that the person can reach any human village or town that's near it. Yeah, so following the river is good advice when you know that you are in a forest which is not too big. It's not populated by, or it's populated by people in certain areas. But if you are in any place where the forest is huge, like in Canada, careful following the river because you might be walking for many, many, many days. Okay, so if you're in a big, big forest, just stay still. Stay in one spot. Roshni Kunte says, oh gosh, if an individual is stuck in the forest without any technology, firstly, the person must gather some food to survive and build a fire through the old method. Okay, Roshni, make a fire, stay warm. Absolutely. All right, lots of great advice. Okay, so that's an interesting question. Allow me a moment to think. Well, as I said, Firstly, it's important to stay calm and collected. The person should think of where they came from or of which direction they came from and orientate themselves. By looking at the position of the sun and a wristwatch, if possible. Also, they can observe the trees and see which side of the tree is covered in moss. The side that has moss will be facing west. Aside from this, it is usually a good idea to stay put for a while and make a fire. Okay, and I could keep going, but I'm going to stop there. You might guess that I live near a forest. Some people who have visited Victoria actually say that people in Victoria and Vancouver live in a forest. So here we go. Repeat after me. If a person becomes lost in the forest and does not have a phone, what should they do? That's an interesting question. Allow me a moment to think. Well, as I said, firstly, it's important to stay calm and collected. Okay, I'm going to make a little correction here because I'm not reflecting the grammar of the question. If a person is lost in the woods, another way to say forest, woods. Firstly, it's important to stay calm and collected. The person should think of which direction they came from and orientate themselves by looking at the position of the sun and a wristwatch if possible. Also, they can observe the trees and see which side of the tree is covered in moss. The side that has moss will be facing west. Aside from this, it is usually a good idea to stay put for a while and make a fire. All right. Next question. Keep going. Why do you think this is good advice? Okay, why do you think this is good advice? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Roshni, moss, it's the little green plant that likes to grow in wet areas. Okay? It grows on the sides of trees. All right, lots of answers coming up. That's great. Let's see. Flower Sun says, I think this is the best advice because being anxious and scared only makes the situation worse, and food and water may run out before rescuers come, and some other creatures may become dangerous, such as tigers, leopards, bears, British Columbia, bears and cougars. All right. Good. Nice, Flower Sun. Couple of missing words, but overall, it's quite good. Hemant, I'm not sure what happened with your answer there. It seems to have fallen apart. For Dobbs, Nabiev says, because I do not know any other way to find a road to my home, that's why this is the first and last idea for me to tackle this dangerous situation. Great, for Dobbs. I like it. I like your personal style in the answer. It's a fair answer, okay? You don't always have to give really long answers. They just have to be good answers, and that's a good answer for Dobbs. It's great. Charlie Sen says, well, to be honest, I have seen this in a show on the Discovery Channel, how a person should survive in a forest. Besides, long ago, humans lived in forests. Therefore, it's difficult, but not impossible to stay alive. Yeah. And I bet you some people are doing that these days. They're preparing for the worst situation and maybe have moved out to the forest to ride out the wave of this terrible pandemic. Sundar Akira says, it's an interesting question. Firstly, don't panic in the forest. The sun will help, and this will change over time, the direction and the weather conditions. The nearest foot symbol in the forest to reach the village. Okay, Sundar, I think it's a little bit confusing, so you have to rephrase what you're writing there, but I kind of get it. Marie Elba, much nicer, longer answer this time, Marie. Good. This is great advice because it is actually the basic solution when a person is lost in the woods. Usually, if I will become a hiker, I will definitely undergo training for survival before embarking on long nature hikes through the trees. That's a good idea. Being prepared, students, is a good idea. Okay? When you make that bug out bag, it's a good idea to have a compass. We all rely on our mobile phones to do everything, but if that network goes down, we have to go back to old school ways. All right. Nafusat says, I think staying put and making a fire can help people to gain time to plan out exactly what they will do next, and maybe emergency rescuers will be on their way. The fire will also help signal the emergency workers. Okay, very good, Nafusat. Yeah, if they move and start traveling, it'll only make their work more difficult. Harry Hyun says, well, without any doubt that when people lose their temper, it's obviously driving more unpredictable events and increasing the chances of accidents. Very good, Harry. All right. So, fear and panic are enemy number one because people lose their ability to think rationally. So that's why I feel staying calm is the most valuable advice. Also, staying put in a large forest makes it easier in most cases for rescue workers to find that person, especially if that person has made a fire which sends a smoke signal. Okay, so this is my follow-up. Repeat after me. Why do you think this is good advice? Fear and panic are enemy number one because people lose their ability to think rationally. So that's why I feel staying calm is the most valuable advice. Also, staying put in a large forest makes it easier in most cases for rescue workers to find that person, especially if that person has made a fire, which sends a smoke signal. Students, great job today. Lots and lots of communication, lots of great ideas. One of the really good reasons to join in on these classes and participate is because you learn ideas. So a lot of students complain that they have difficulty thinking of ideas quickly when they're in the exam for the speaking and for task 2. Well, in these classes, you can grab a lot of great ideas for not only how to answer, but what to say. And it was really nice participation by everyone. So thank you, everyone, for contributing to today's class. Here are some more questions for you to practice at home. Let's talk about overcoming challenges. What are some positive personal characteristics that can help individuals navigate difficult experiences? Can you give any examples of this? Which resources should a perfect society provide to alleviate challenging situations for its citizens? Can you give any examples? These are some interesting questions to think about for the current world situation as well. And if you record that or your answers on your phone and send them to me by MP3, I will gladly give you an estimate of your speaking band score. Just send your MP3 to Adrian at aehelp.com. Great job, everyone. So again, I will be back on Wednesday with more live classes. Until then, aehelp.com for academic IELTS, GIELTS help.com for general. Check out those premium courses there. Spend a couple dollars, learn lots of great communication and English skills. Fantastic. Again, great job to everyone today. Stay safe. Stay at home if you don't need to go out. Wash your hands lots. Of course, you're hearing this advice from everybody. Remember, we're all small cogs in a much larger machine. We need to do our part to make sure that we keep functioning optimally. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. Much love to all of you from Budapest. Bye for now.